Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. To warm up, let's start the video with a tale of petty revenge. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Former friend teams up with girl that hates me and tries to bully me at the pub. I'm friends with the pub landlord. When I was in my late teens, I used to hang out down at the pub a lot. It was a really sociable place where a lot of my friends would get together every weekend. It was the best spot for all the young alternative types, and myself and many others have been going there since before we were 18. This was about 15 years ago. The landlord of this pub was awesome, really nice dude who was welcoming and friendly, but also took zero crap. Now, he knew a lot of us were underage when we began drinking there, but would only kick out the people that caused trouble. If you were sensible, you could stay. Back then, I had this friend, Lucinda. We were really close. I would have done anything for her, but she had a habit of lying and attention-seeking. We fell out hard when she slept with the guy I was seeing at the time. I sacked him off, too. I finally realized how little she really cared about me. There was also a girl, Leanne, a few years older than us, who for a short time would verbally attack me in public for no good reason. I later found out her boyfriend, who I had a passing friendship with, had been telling her that he made out with me, which was a lie. I have no idea why I was being dragged into it. So I go down to the pub on a Friday night as usual, though this was not long after I'd actively ended the friendship with Lucinda. I see both her and Leanne at a table together, having a whale of a time, laughing loudly and rather blatantly trying to make me feel uncomfortable. This was blatant because I know for a fact that they'd never socialized or been friendly with each other before this. They'd obviously bonded over some sort of mutual hatred of me. Me, being a sensitive 18-year-old, did find this uncomfortable, but I was determined not to let it ruin my night, so I hung out with a bunch of awesome punk mates of mine and had a great time at the other end of the pub, completely out of the view of both Leanne and Lucinda. Though I'd have to walk past their table to use the ladies, and every time I did, they would loudly make comments about me and laugh. After a couple of drinks, I was feeling brave and remembered that Lucinda was still 17 and it was 10 minutes past 9 in the evening. The pub landlord would chuck out the underage kids at 9 p.m., the ones he didn't like anyway. So I went to the bar and ordered a drink from the landlord and said, "Oh, you know, Lucinda's still here and it's past 9 p.m., right?" He gave me a knowing look and said, yeah, she's still 17, isn't she? Don't worry, I'll handle it." I thanked him and sat back down. About 10 minutes later, both Lucinda and Leanne walked past me on their way to exiting the pub with faces like thunder. Neither say a word to me, nor do I make eye contact with them. I just continue enjoying my night with my awesome friends at the pub that I love. The landlord actually passed away a few years after this, and I often tell this story when reminiscing with other friends who knew him. He was a legend. I would have raised my glass like Gatsby as they walked by and had my friends laugh because they'd also be petty like me. And our next story. Endanger the kids in your care and pretend that you're doing your job? Nah, B. I work in the special education setting and have worked with kids with autism, emotional behavior disorder, and other diverse needs for 5+ years now. Not a huge profile, but I like what I do. I have a BA in English with a focus on editing, so it helps teaching kids grammar. I'm a special ed para who works with EBD mostly. Over the summer, teachers and paras, me, don't actually get paid in most districts, so a lot of us find other work. I work for my district's summer care as an inclusion staff, aka person who deals with behaviors. I was assigned to a group of 5 separate kids with a variety of needs and told to spread myself out between them. I was given a get-to-know-you sheet for each kid from their parent or teacher explaining their needs and what I could expect to see. They were not extensive, and parents will either downplay or exaggerate their child's needs. After week 1, I learned that all the sheets could have downplayed written on them. Awesome. It was worse than herding cats because you can yell over cats, but when 13 kids are all screaming and 3 of them hate loud noises and then escalate and punch another kid, you got a big problem. So I went to my supervisors, the youth and family coordinators, and the inclusion liaison, and laid down the sitch. I need some help with my room. Myself and the 2 activities leads are having trouble just controlling the room, and any ideas would be great, I said. The coordinators asked if we tried a few things. We had. And then the liaison looked at me and said, "Well, it looks like you have your job cut out for you." I thought you said you know 2 of these kids. This should be an easy room then," and returned to her computer. She will be called B from here on out. B continued to do this whenever any inclusion staff asked for help. A 19-year-old girl got stabbed by her kid with a sharpened pencil, and the B asked her why she aggravated him. She avoided helping or just said the same thing over and over, visual schedules and sensory items. Yeah, these kids aren't all autistic, and not all autistic kids like or need those things. Some kids need a motor break or not to be in large groups, and sometimes they seriously just need some one-on-one time with someone who's willing to listen to them. 2 kids I worked with that summer really needed that. One stepfather, who he was close to, had just died 6 months prior, and the other was having issues in the home. But we weren't allowed to give them the help they needed, despite that being literally in our job description. Halfway through the summer, I was transitioned to a one-on-one with a child who, frankly, we were not equipped to handle in our program. He was very violent, a runner, and nonverbal to the point of cognitive disability. But B greenlit him because it'd be good for the program. The child had burnt through 2 other staff members already, and my boss decided it was my turn. I said no, I cannot handle him on a physical level. I have a back problem and can't keep up with him if he sprints. He told me I would have help. I was not alone. This was a lie. I was very much alone. In fact, I was SOL FML. This child hit, punched, and kicked me daily. He threw his food at me. He ran away from me at the pool and jumped in when he couldn't swim. Thankfully, only got into 4 feet of water. I had to keep him constantly entertained because if he got bored, he'd yell, "Go home!" and either punch a kid walking by or ram his own head into the wall. I didn't have restraint training at the time, so legally I wasn't allowed to stop him. Also, another reason why I should not have been his staff. Now, I'm not saying this is new for me, but it is part of the summer program, and the other staff who endured this were not equipped with my para-training. These were high school kids getting beat up by an 8-year-old because they asked him if he wanted a corn dog. They didn't sign up for this. They signed up to help calm down a kid with anxiety, not someone who's literally trying to assault them. So while I did my best to handle this, what really angered me is I watched high school kids get beat up by younger kids, and when they asked for help, they were told visual aids. B never once stepped in to help these kids hands-on. Never once met half of them. She didn't visit classrooms. She didn't know their tics. Just visual aids. After a long and raging summer, I had enough. This wasn't my first rodeo with a supervisor that needed to be taken down, so I kept the log the entire summer. Every incident, every snide comment she made about me and my other staff, every single time I asked for help and I didn't get it, were all written down in a Moleskine. She endangered staff and other children, whom had been hit and kicked by the kid I had to deal with, by her ego and inaction. I sent a long email and my evidence to the director of community education, her boss. He replied within a day saying he was very upset that this was going on and he was on it. Later, I was to discover he was very much on it. I refused to actually work for the program as a full activities assistant and became a sub for just my para-student during the school year on his drop-in days. I haven't been called in. I spoke with the site lead, who I'm cool with, last week and found out some delicious things that made my revenge complete. 2 hours after my email to the director, he sent out a survey to all site coordinators and leads asking about the performance of their inclusion liaisons. It was a yes-no survey with 3 questions. One being, was your liaison hands-on or office-bound? Check office-bound. My site coordinator had then received a call asking for all the incident reports that involved special ed kids and the child I had to deal with, or staff. All of them. There were more than 100 for our site that fell into those specifications. That's too many. I would know I wrote more than half of them. And this is the best one. The B got demoted. They made it a requirement to have a bachelor's degree in special education or similar field in order to be the inclusion liaison. B does not have a degree, not even a 2-year. She's now basically a site lead over at one of the schools that needed one. So when you're putting kids in danger and I ask for help, you damn well better get off your sorry butt and give it to me. Otherwise, I'll have your effing job.
And our third story. Oh, you're the owner's sister? Wow, my long-lost sister. Can you believe it, guys? So about 3 or 4 years ago, I started a business, and we're still expanding. We have a pretty jolly good amount of people working for us. Our office is right next to the front desk, and our open hours are 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. This will be important later. So one day about a year ago, I was working late on my computer and the doors were left unlocked because I was just finishing up some tasks and had to head to my mom's house immediately after that. Guess who comes waltzing in? Yep, that's correct. The Karen. Now, since it's past closing time, almost 9:45, the front desk is not there. Karen immediately starts yelling drastically for the front desk. Front desk, I need a pass. I get up to go and confront her. Hey, ma'am, we're closed and... No, you're not. Do you even work here? Yes, ma'am, I'm actually the owner. You're lying. If you were the owner, you would know what the hours of this store were. Karen then pulls a face like she just saw a ghost. Did you break in here? I'm calling the police. Karen takes out her phone and starts jamming 911 into the keypad. Halfway through, she stops, anticipating an I give up response from me. I tell her, no, I'm the actual owner. You see, No, you're lying, because I'm the sister of the owner of this place. I can easily call her. I shrug and give her a business card, and she furiously dials in the number. I'll never know if she actually called the police. They never came, so I'm assuming she didn't. When she dialed the number on the business card, the phone rings, and Karen just gives me this smug look like, haha, now they're gonna back me up. Instead, I gleefully watch her face turn white as my phone rings. I pick it up and say, hello, how can I help you on this fine day? Karen doesn't do anything for 1 second, completely paralyzed. Then she hangs up and does this fast-walking shuffle thing out the door. Never saw her again, poor lady.
Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.